So today I am going to cover a controversial subject because you motherfuckers wanted me to cover it. I want to talk about school shootings in America and what I consider a profound misinformation of the public. Now, what people don't understand with school shootings is that firearms are not the problem. Firearms simply exacerbate the problem which already exists, and that is a lack of security in schools in general. Let me elaborate on my point. So, when somebody goes into the school and he shoots 15 to 16 children and 2 adults, people immediately point to firearms and they see firearms as a problem. And that is a delusion, that is a misrepresentation of reality. Because firearms are not the problem here. The lack of security in schools is the problem. The lack of safety in schools is the problem. How many rapes happen in schools? How many pickpockets happen in schools? How many beatings happen in schools? How many bullyings happen in schools? How many mentally traumatic events happen in schools? Those are all parts of the same problem, which is lack of security in schools. And how do you see that those school shootings are actually used as a political tool? Well, it is pretty simple to prove. It is pretty simple to examine and show why the school shootings are not actually solved as a problem. Instead, they are simply used as a way for certain political parts of the American left and certain political parts of the American right to push their political agenda. Let's say that you prevent people from carrying firearms. In that sense, you are not really solving the problem of security in schools. You are still allowing rapes in schools, severe bullying in schools, mental trauma in schools, sexual abuse in schools, etc. You didn't solve any problem from this list by simply removing firearms. And school shootings, in my opinion, are just the tip of the iceberg of the problem which is called security in schools. And you can simply prevent mass school shootings by, putting security in schools. If you put, casual security in schools to monitor children and adults, you will prevent like 70% of rapes in schools, majority of mental abuse in schools, and you will also prevent all of the molestation and bullying of older students towards younger students. And you will also prevent school shootings too. And so every time when school shootings happen, instead of discussing security in schools and putting guards in schools, what they do is they discuss firearms. Of course, if you really think about it, once you remove firearms, you definitely didn't solve the problem of security in schools, but you did increase the societal control of people. And so just like Black Lives Matter, this specific discussion, this specific discourse is simply deluding of the public and forcing of the public into division and forcing of the public into false dichotomy instead of solving the problem which is called security in schools. In order to prevent school shootings, put the guards in front of schools and also put the guards on the school property And you didn't just solve the problem of school shootings, you solved many other problems of security in schools, such as sexual abuse, bullying, and many other security issues regarding school system. Therefore, this entire discourse of mass shooting in schools is completely wrongly formulated. Issue of mass shootings of school children is not the issue of firearms, is the issue of security in schools. You can have firearms and people can be allowed to carry firearms and still school shootings can be prevented. It's a little bit absurd that somebody can carry fucking semi-automatic rifle in fucking bag without anyone noticing. You see, when I was at school, we had, for a considerable amount of time, guards in schools, and teachers were obligated to know what children are carrying in their bags. And I remember I used to buy Bakugan toys when Bakugan cartoons were popular, and I used to play with them in a pause between classes, and teachers saw me and they didn't like it, so they confiscated them immediately. And Bakugan toys, as far as I know, were much smaller than fucking semi-automatic rifle. So you're telling me that somebody can carry near to school semi-automatic rifle, or in a school semi-automatic rifle without anybody noticing? That's bullshit. And this proves that either people in America are stupid, there is absolutely no any form of security in schools, or the entire thing is set up. There is no third explanation for this, So really, my solution to the problem of mass school shootings would be to invest into infrastructure of schools, building better fences, installing cameras, and hiring guards for schools. You do those three things and you simply prevented any form of security issues regarding schools. From molestation and sexual abuse to small-scale bullying. You pretty much solved all of the problems with a little bit of money redirected from obscenely inflated military to security in schools. Instead of doing that, American government pulls the old card of gun rights and divide and conquer. You see, when you forbid people from having guns, you are not forbidding criminals from having guns, because criminals will always have guns. They don't care about the law, that's why they are criminals. And you also allow bigger oppression of the people if you forbid people from having weapons. You see, this is old trick, old play. So for the end of this video, I will, in the spirit of this clip, leave you to listen to Belial meditation. I hope you enjoyed this small discourse, and talk to you soon.
Belial. I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the lawless one. I invoke you, the tyrant. I invoke you, the liberator. I invoke you, the destroyer. I invoke you, obliterator. I invoke you, the liar. I invoke you, the truth revealer. I invoke you, the bringer of the apocalypse, the breaker of the last seal, the ruinous one, the blasphemous one, the glorious one, the mighty one. I invoke you, Belial, the Lord of the pit, the Lord of the lawless, the King, the Emperor, the worthless, the precious one. I invoke you, the mighty one, the superior one, the supreme one, the primordial one. I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the spirit of freedom. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial. Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial. The Lord of the pit, the Lord of the wars, the King, the Emperor, the King, the Emperor, the worthless, the worthless, the worthless, the precious one. I invoke you, the mighty one, the superior one, the supreme one, the primordial one. I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the spirit of freedom. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Belial. The breaker of the last seal, the blasphemous one, the glorious one, the blasphemous one, the glorious one, the mighty one. I invoke you, Belial, the Lord of the pit, the King, the Lord of the lawless, the King, the Emperor, the worthless, the precious one. I invoke you, the mighty one, the superior one, the supreme one, the primordial one. I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the spirit of freedom. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial.
Belia, like color pony. Belia, come true.
I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the lawless one. I invoke you, the tyrant. I invoke you, the liberator. I invoke you, the destroyer. I invoke you, obliterate. I invoke you, the liar. I invoke you, the truth revealer. I invoke you, the bringer of the apocalypse, the breaker of the last seal, the ruinous one, the blasphemous one, the glorious one, the mighty one. I invoke you, Belial, the Lord of the pit, the Lord of the lawless, the King, the Emperor, the worthless, the precious one. I invoke you, the mighty one, the superior one, the supreme one, the primordial one. I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the spirit of freedom. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial. Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial. The Lord of the pit, the Lord of the wars, the King, the Emperor, the King, the Emperor, the worthless, the precious one. I invoke you, the mighty one, the superior one, the supreme one, the primordial one. I invoke you, Belial. I invoke you, the spirit of freedom. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Isu, Belial. Belial, Atva, Net, Itava, Belial. the blessedness one, the glorious one, the blessedness one, the glorious one, the mighty one. I invoke you, the loyal, the Lord of the pit, the King, the Lord of the lawless, the King, the Emperor, the worthless, the precious one. I invoke you, the mighty one, the superior one, the supreme one, the primordial one. I invoke you, the royal. I invoke you, the spirit one, the royal. Atva, saint. Itava, Isu, the royal.
达利亚，来考了朋友，达利亚。